we're trying to understand a very advanced civilization through the lens of a very archaic mindset. And that's very contrary to how we've seen ourselves. We've seen ourselves perhaps very arrogantly and perhaps without justification as these modern day scientific superheroes, cutting edge of technology. That's where we imagine we are. So we perceive, based on where we think we are, we perceive everything that came before us as archaic. We think of the caveman being our ancestor. The caveman is not our ancestor. The caveman is a part of the journey, but not the origin of the journey. We originated from what we would call gods, what we would think of today as cosmic, enlightened, godly beings. These are our ancestors. Some of them had really nefarious intentions for humanity, and some of them did not. Some of them wanted humanity to prosper. Some of them wanted humanity to do really well and to grow and to evolve and to use the halls of Amenti to return back to 5D. Others of them wanted to keep humanity almost as a fuel source to themselves. So there was a lot of infighting with these cosmic beings, but the point remains, those are our ancestors. And part of our journey, God, our human journey has taken so many twists and turns from the caveman era. We've devolved and evolved so many times. But something that you said, Amrit, was about the hieroglyphs. And I just wanted to mention, imagine if you inherited the pyramids, and as you inherited the pyramids, the walls were blank. Aren't you going to put your graffiti on the walls, right? If you had access to this massive structure, you're going to go put your own graffiti on it, and that we then are going to interpret your graffiti and say, hey, you're the creator of the pyramids because it's your graffiti that's on them. Maybe it's not, though.
Yeah. Okay. And why now does this information finally start to tip in a different direction? So where are we at right now that gives us this opportunity to be like this information surfacing and there's more coming into our awareness? And you look at back to where we started the conversation, like things are shifting, things are evolving at present. What is it about this time that's allowing such information to come? Is the consciousness evolving?
And this is what I wish more people could see. We, as in the majority of people on the planet right now, are the cause. For all the revelation that's going on right now, we're the cause. Why? Because we are disclosure. We had it upside down and inside out. We always thought disclosure was going to be given to us by an external voice or an external authority, or it was going to be on the media one day and somebody was going to go, hey, this is what's really going on in the world, and then we'd be free and then we'd be liberated. But this was an idea of the false matrix, that said, humanity, you yourself are not powerful, the leaders are the powerhouses. That's what we believed. That's what we were programmed to believe. The truth is the exact opposite. When we begin to disclose to ourselves that we are, as an individual, a source of power, a source of love, a source of creativity, a source of consciousness, a source of compassion, a source of healing. When we get up off our knees and start realizing that we are the ones we waited for, then we become disclosure. And we do that quietly. I never put a neon light above my house when I started turning into a deeper level of my power. And I don't think you did either. And I don't think the listeners did either. I think we just did this quietly in our own solemn spaces, sometimes caused by massive dark nights of the soul, sometimes spontaneously. We just began to receive more of our own essence. And that's disclosure. And that builds an energy that begins to reform the external reality in such a way that it reflects our disclosure, it reflects our awakening. And the reflection is now beginning to show us, hey, there's something deeper underneath those pyramids. And when we start getting into the depth of what's underneath those pyramids, we're starting to get to the depth of what's underneath our consciousness. We start coming into a deeper alignment with ourselves at our literal energetic roots. We start reconnecting with a deeper truth of who we are, not who we were, who we are.
This brings to light a point you were mentioning earlier, which is, like our body literally contains the DNA, which is the code that when you step in, activates certain things in certain spaces. This revealed a lot. I mean, it sounds fantastical, but I want to double click on it, because as we're collectively going through this and collectively more and more things are emerging into our awareness, maybe it's not as fantastical as it sounds.
Well, I was going to say it's not as fantastical as it sounds, but then I thought, no, wait a minute, we are actually fantastical. Just don't realize. We just don't realize how fantastical we are. And it's like we want to dismiss the reality, that says we're fantastical, because that can't be true. But that's actually our nature. Our nature is that we are cosmic, delicious miracles, every single one of us. And we've been snipped off, cut off, and separated from this majesty that we come from. We come from a divine grace that is so big we can't comprehend what it is, and therefore we can't comprehend who we are. We've been snipped at the crown, there, literally disconnected from our totality, which is also why those halls of Amenti were covered up. Remember that external reality is a reflection of our internal reality. So when we were severed at the crown and lost connection to our divinity, then external reality reshaped itself to show us, look, there's just pyramids, nothing important here other than some pharaoh who was buried a long time ago, who may have had an ego problem because he needed this big monument devoted to him. We got all of these untruths and half-truths because it suited the reflection of where we were at the time. But as we wake up and realize, my God, we really are these fantastical things, then we're going to start having more and more disclosure. The pyramids are just a part of it. The pyramids are just a moment of our disclosure. If we keep looking at external reality right now and how it's reshaping itself, we're going to begin to see that the entirety of our reality is crumbling, number one, but number two, it's crumbling so that it can reform itself. It's crumbling so that it can reshape itself. This is all part of us stepping out of the false matrix. I think a lot of people had there's a fantastical idea. A lot of people had a fantastical idea that they were going to step out of the false matrix and it was just going to be like this little hop, skip, and a dance. Like, ding, look at me, But actually, you first collapse the matrix. And that's the scary moment, isn't it? When the shards of the false matrix start falling at your feet and the debris of the false matrix becomes more and more apparent, there's some knee-jerk response in us then that says, uh-oh, it's falling apart. My life's falling apart, we say. But it's not. Our old life is falling apart. Our old matrix is falling apart. And if we can differentiate that, then we don't have that same desire to try to glue, for want of a better way of saying it, we're trying to glue back the shards of an old reality that we desperately wanted to be free of. We desperately wanted to break it down. But now we've got to let it crumble. So for me, the pyramids is really just a part of a big transformation in consciousness, the big shift in consciousness.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely love this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.